All right, now we're going to bring in some images. If we take a peek at the final result here, you can see that up at the top is a logo, then we have a banner image, then we have 4 popular films. Now, there's always the question, should I put it in my HTML or in my CSS? And the answer is a little bit complex. If you put it in your HTML, then you can give it an alt tag, and then it becomes very helpful for people with screen readers. We don't have similar alt tags in CSS, so it's not as identifiable. In this case, this is a very made-up website, of course, but I'm going to assume that the logo is something important. So I'll add the logo here, img src equals, and now I'll start typing my path. And I can actually just allow the browser to do that for me. And I'll add the alt tag, and I'll just call it the Kevin Bacon logo. And then I'll end my tag. Oops. These code hints are kind of driving me crazy. There we go. So let's see how that looks. And there's the logo. Now, the banner image on the flip side, I think is going to have to be added in the CSS. And we do have a tag for it right here. So I'll do hashtag subhead. Again, it's going to go right below the nav, right? So these are all about the nav, but I'm just putting this in order. So hashtag subhead. I capitalized the H in that, so have to remember that. And now I'll give it the background image, and I'll go ahead and type URL, because when we're in CSS, that's how we do it. And I have to get out of my styles, and now I can go straight into images. And here I want to have the KB banner image. And for now, that's all I'm going to put, so you can see what it looks like. Ooh, I don't see it. And why don't I see it? Well, if I inspect this, I can go to my subhead div, and as I click on it down here, you can look up here in this area. I have to be hovering over it, and you can see that it's got 995 for width, but 0 for a height. That's right, it thinks the subhead is empty, has no height, so I have to give it that. So I'll add height 200 px, save, and now I can see the image. Now we're ready to place those 4, let's see, let me open this to show. These 4 images here, and this tiny little arrow here. You'll remember that we didn't export that little arrow from Figma, but I did put a copy of it here in the extras. It's called the arrow circle.png. So these 4 images go below the most popular films headline in the aside section. That's right here. So let's get this set up. And we'll put them in as image tags. Remember, the image tag is an inline style, meaning, oops, I didn't mean to type that. I can't talk and type at the same time. Image source equals, and there's our quote marks. We're going to first put Footloose, then Apollo, then Mystic, then X-Men. Footloose, Mystic, Apollo, and X-Men. Image source equals. So I'll go to my assets folder, my images folder, and I'll first choose Footloose. I will give it an alt tag. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to just copy this same tag 3 times. And what I'll do is simply replace this image with the next one. And of course, I'll have to change the alt tag. And this one, with Apollo. And this last one with X-Men. All right, let's take a peek. And there's our 4 images. So let's see if we can get that little circle in. We're going to do that in the CSS. And this will be added to the button. So the first thing I'm going to do is remember from the slideshow in week 2, I think it was, that showed you always put a background color after the image. So background image and URL. And we have to get out, we're on the styles page now, so we have to get out of this CSS folder, and then we can go into images folder. And I'm going to go into extras this time and choose the circle. Let's take a look at that. Oof, that circle covered up all the text because it needs a no repeat. So I will turn this into the background shorthand by taking image off. And then I can add to the back of this no repeat. Save. And now I see that it's on the left. So I need to be sure to position it on the right. And once again, from that same slideshow, you'll see that image position can go in the shorthand. So I'll say right, and that will put it on the right. And let's see. Oh, it's going to need some padding around it. And we might have to say center, because that would center it vertically, but as I zoom in on this, it looks like it already is pretty centered vertically because we don't have much height. Maybe the padding will change that, but let's add some padding. Now we're going to use the padding shorthand. So that means it will be going like a clock, the 4 measurements. It would be 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So 10 px on the top. On the right side, that's where we want extra. So we'll say 30 px. And then 10 for the left and 10 for the bottom. Bottom and left. Sorry, I said that backwards. Save, and it looks pretty good, but I feel like the image could be a little closer to the text and we could have a little more space out there. So what I'm going to try here is some background positioning. I will add the center, let's see, right and center. Let's just see if that helped. That did put it in the center, but the spacing is still strange. So I'm going to teach you something new here. If you want to move the image a little away from the edge, you can use a percentage instead of just saying right. So background position 95% center instead of right center. That would mean put the image at 95% across the element, right? 95% all the way to the right, and a little bit away from the edge, and still in the middle from top to bottom, so the word center will stay there. So let's try, instead of the word right, we'll say 95%. And I think that did a pretty good job. I might want a little bit less than 10 pixels on the top and bottom. I'll just fix that. This is the top. So I'll say 5px there. That's the right. This is the bottom, so I'll say 5px there. Just trying to make it look nice, right? That's a little better to me. All right. Now all of the images are placed, and we'll do some organizing in the next video.